A very stunning discovery, Veronica. Imagine coming to work and stumbling upon a body.
Gracias por dejarnos entrar en sus hogares. Ya comenzamos.
This is such a horrific tragedy for this tight-knit community. Behind me there is the scene, and that is where law enforcement officers from around the state have been out here for more than 10 hours.
Oh, what a difference from noon. The wind has picked back up. You can see my umbrella. I'm holding on to it here. Debris is everywhere from where this roof collapsed. Over there, you can see it.
Hurricane Irma did one heck of a job on this Imperial Swan Hotel and Suites. The front of it looks like something out of a war zone.
Definitely a big get, Holly. It's pretty incredible that these pieces are here in Polk County, the only state-owned autonomous vehicle testing site in the country.
More than 250 pages of the school district's investigation into this incident.
He hopes that one day this will be bulletproof and maybe you'll even be able to fly in it.
Investigators believe that Yasmin was wearing headphones as she approached the railroad tracks. They also believe that she was looking down at her phone as the train was coming.
And they're also learning how to help these horses navigate obstacles with ease.
The majority of their trees, there will still be some kumquats to taste at the festival.
Claytor is joining us live at the school at 5:05. Stephanie, this wasn't just a small knife they planned to use, according to investigators.
Not at all, Veronica. This is a picture of a butcher knife that one of the girls allegedly had concealed underneath her clothes. The Bartow police chief said that this could have been a mass casualty event had the school staff not acted upon a rumor that something bad was going to happen at the school on Tuesday. Authorities say two girls, 11 and 12 years old, drew up this map as they plotted to kill their Bartow Middle School classmates in the bathroom. Parents of students at the school are in shock.
I'm scared to even bring my child to school then. I don't know. It's just scary.
This mom's daughter was just as frightened.
It's scary when you get threatened by a knife because, it's like a life or death or situation.
When school staff realized the girls weren't in class, they searched the school and found them in the bathroom, allegedly armed with knives. Bartow Police Chief Joe Hall said the girls told authorities they plan to kill as many of their classmates as possible before committing suicide.
They told us that they were Satan worshipers. They did make comments that they were willing to drink blood and may possibly eat flesh.
Neighbors said they're in disbelief.
Is she sick? She has to be sick to want to do something like that.
Another neighbor said one of the girls was bullied.
She talked about her friend that lives in this neighborhood. They usually sat down and were witches and act like they were putting curses on the kids that made fun of them.
We knocked on the doors of both students' homes.
There'll be no comment. You'll have to leave.
No one answered at the other student's home. Police Chief Joe Hall said that the girls were watching scary movies when they designed this plot, and he also said that investigators found Snapchat messages between the two girls detailing how they were going to carry out this attack. Both of these girls are facing very serious charges, including conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Reporting live here in Bartow, I'm Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Sylvia Mejias is doing quite well in Lakeland. She says her job teaching at Garner Elementary pays a lot more than in Puerto Rico.
I have a better job here. My husband had a better job here.
Sylvia and her family evacuated to Lakeland last October. In less than a month, she got her job. Her husband is now working for the school district too as a school safety guardian.
We have a better life here than in Puerto Rico.
More than 690 Puerto Rican evacuees were enrolled in the Polk County School District last school year. And more than 2,800 Puerto Ricans have made their home in Polk County since last October. That's according to driver's license statistics provided by the state. Hillsborough County received about 100 fewer. Milagros de la Rosa, who volunteers with I Am the Group Foundation, says many in Hillsborough County are struggling. She says the majority who've called the foundation are still living with relatives. She's in the same boat. Her inability to speak English has prevented her from getting an administrative job.
I feel sad.
Milagros says she doesn't want to go back to Puerto Rico. She says the jobs aren't there either.
No, it's easy.
Sylvia encourages her fellow Puerto Ricans still struggling to make a new life in Florida to avoid giving up.
I had a lot of doubts when I came. The language barrier, but every day it's getting better. If you work hard, if you try to learn, if you try to adapt, you're gonna make it.
Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Yes, I'm standing outside of Central Booking, and I just heard from Michael Dunn's attorney. He said that Michael Dunn has posted bond, so we expect Michael Dunn to be released from this jail sometime this evening. Now, another development in this case, we learned today that Michael Dunn has added Mark O'Mara to his defense counsel. You'll recall that Mark O'Mara was a defense attorney for George Zimmerman when he was acquitted of the second-degree murder charge related to the killing of Trayvon Martin. Michael Dunn's wife, Brandy, was overjoyed when she learned her husband could bond out of jail.
I'm happy to have my husband home. We're going to let the rest of the process work.
Dunn was arrested Friday and spent the last 6 days in protective custody. The bond hearing felt more like a trial. 3 witnesses were called to the stand.
You got to fill in the context. And, you know, the 3 or 4 moments around that event, I think, were very telling, but were simply not told by that video.
One witness, store employee David Duncan, testified that before the deadly shooting, the victim, Cristobal Lopez, pointed the hatchet at him, saying he'd pay for it. Duncan was calling the police at the time. Duncan said he also had a concealed weapon.
Did you ever think about maybe reaching out and trying to take the hatchet from Mr. Lopez?
I say that I regret that when he walked up in front of me as I was dialing, that rather than backing up to create distance, that I wish I had snatched the hatchet out of his hand.
How about drawing a firearm? Yourself?
I think with my, what would you want to call it, demeanor or reaction, I don't think I would do that unless he had initiated swinging it at me across the counter.
Both the prosecutor and defense counsel agreed Dunn should be given a bond. Some of Michael Dunn's conditions for release include house arrest, and he also has to surrender all of his firearms. That means he can no longer work at his military surplus store because guns are sold there. Michael Dunn also surrendered his passport in court today. Reporting live in Bartow, I'm Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
You spoke with the police chief. What is he saying tonight?
Well, Veronica, Police Chief Larry Giddens said after watching the surveillance video, he believes that his officers' actions follow the department's use of force policy in this incident. This deadly police shooting of 17-year-old Michael Taylor in a chaotic, crowded parking lot of about 200 people has some upset.
It's very scary because I thought the police was supposed to protect us. They got me scared.
Tamir Rivers was in a car behind Taylor's when she heard at least 7 shots. The surveillance video shows Taylor driving toward an officer and officers shooting at Taylor. Officers were trying to stop him for being in a stolen car.
This person ignored multiple verbal commands. All that suspect had to do was follow those commands. And the next 46 seconds wouldn't have happened, and he wouldn't have lost his life tragically.
I asked Lakeland Police Chief Larry Giddens what he would have done if he was there.
I believe that the tactics they used that night, based on everything that they were dealing with, the time, the location, the space, the number of people, I think our officers did a very, very good job.
The president of the Lakeland branch of the NAACP disagrees. He met with the chief today.
I felt that there's a possibility that maybe the police could have moved in and blocked the entrance. I thought that might have been some consideration that should have been put in place. I was concerned that so many shots was fired when there was a lot of people in the immediate vicinity.
Reginald Artis said Chief Giddens disagreed with him.
Was there an option to not approach the vehicle? And then what does that say? Are we not going to try to take criminals into custody? What do you do there? Do you just let it leave and then we get into a pursuit and some innocent family gets hit?
Others believe the officers should have aimed for the tires.
So shooting tires isn't a good practice. it's not a good practice because it will not stop the vehicle.
Artist wants parents to step up in order to prevent this from happening in the future.
We want the community to understand that the police has a job to do, but we need to be more protective of our kids. We need to tell them there's nothing good going to happen at 2:30 in the morning.
Police Chief Larry Giddens said that this shooting is still under investigation with his department along with the state attorney's office, and he said that investigation could take for 6 to 8 months to complete. Reporting live here in Lakeland, I'm Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Takes time. Stephanie, thanks for the update.
Es lo peor que le pase a una madre.
The worst that could happen to a mother. Rosa Lopez is supposed to be celebrating motherhood this weekend. Instead, she's mourning the loss of her son, Jesus Navarro.
Yo ando destrozado en el corazón.
She says her heart is shattered. Her 13-year-old son was hit while walking near their home. She can't believe the driver took off instead of calling for help. Rosa said this has not only been tough on her, but his siblings as well. Today, the family held his funeral. Hundreds attended.
Gracias a todas las familias que me ha apoyado.
She thanks the families who've helped her. For the next 9 days, her family will uphold the Mexican tradition of praying for Jesus' soul and for answers.
Todos los niños corren peligro.
Rosa says all children are in danger if authorities don't figure out who hit her son. In Hillsborough County, Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Oh, the show is the most beautiful thing in the world, and especially these older girls that do it. I can't believe them. If I lived closer here, I'd be with them.
Diane Wyatt McDonald is one of the original mermaids. She marvels at how the legendary sirens are still so mesmerizing. They're in their 60s and 70s themselves. Back in Diane's performing days in 1947, things were different.
We didn't have the air hoses or the fins or the masks. We just held our breath and did all our stunts underwater.
Just a lot of breathing exercises and a background in synchronized swimming. She was one of the girls handpicked by the park's founder, Newton Perry.
Here comes my friend.
You did such a beautiful job.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet.
Oh, I love it.
She's been a legend here ever since. She's even co-creator of the Adagio pose, the pose you see on the statue out front and performed so often by the mermaids.
I'm ever so proud of that. I get goosebumps every time I see them perform it in the theater.
She showed us pictures from years ago when she and her fellow mermaids were perfecting the pose. They were known as the Aquabelles back then. Their performances became a popular roadside attraction along US 19. How old were you then?
17.
Oh, wow. 17.
There's not much you can't do underwater, I'll tell you. It's just wonderful. It's something you never forget. It just brings back wonderful memories and wish I could still do it.
And while she's no longer able to perform, she's just grateful the attraction has survived all of these years and is now known across the world.
Oh, that feels wonderful because we were so afraid something was going to happen to Wiki Watch. I was so thrilled that it's made such a wonderful return to everything. It's just a marvelous place. It couldn't be better.
Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum News 13. Now on Spectrum Bay News 9, a Manatee County mom accused of leaving 2 children in a hot car. Deputies say she was intoxicated and hostile. And an arrest in a Tampa house fire earlier this month. Police say the suspect knew a woman was inside sleeping when he ignited gasoline. We continue to watch the whales that stranded themselves on Reddington Beach yesterday. An update on the 2 that are recovering in Tarpon Springs. Round 2, day 1, the Democrats facing off again, this time in Detroit. And a fond farewell to a retiring Florida Highway Patrol trooper who served Manatee County for 36 years. I'm Stephanie Claytor. This is your news weather now. Our top story tonight, a Bradenton mom accused of being so drunk she left her kids in a hot car. Deputies rescued both a baby and toddler from that car just in time, and we're told they were already suffering from heat exhaustion. Spectrum Bay News 9's Josh Rojas is in Bradenton with more. We're told both children had bites and sores on their bodies. Deputies say they were called to Cole's home for a possible domestic disturbance. New development surrounding a Tampa house fire earlier this month. A man now faces arson and attempted murder charges in the case. Tampa police say John Petrie set the home on Church Avenue on fire on purpose by pouring gasoline in the hallway and igniting it. Investigators say he knew a woman was sleeping inside at the time. She was able to escape but was burned on the foot. The Trump administration is now exploring vacant sites in Central Florida to possibly locate a permanent shelter for migrant children. Spectrum Bay News 9's Jeff Allen tells us that even state lawmakers say they didn't know about this until last night.
Virginia, Los Angeles, and Central Florida.
In Pinellas tonight, an update for you on the pod of whales that were rescued from Reddington Beach yesterday. 2 of them are still recovering at a new Clearwater Marine Aquarium facility in Tarpon Springs. Our Kate McVeigh is there with the update. We will continue to check in on the whales and, of course, let you know when they are set to be released. And now an update to a story we first told you about last week. An arrest warrant has been issued for a Tampa man in connection with a recent theft at Struthers Honey in Lake Wales. Investigators say the so-called honor system was violated and hundreds of dollars worth of honey was taken in exchange for just a few dollars. Detectives now say one of the people seen in surveillance video is 52-year-old Muhammad Abdallah Hamid. The other man and woman haven't been identified. Call Heartland Crime Stoppers if you have any information. Friends and neighbors of the California Garlic Festival suspect are speaking out. Family friend Jerome Turkin said when they heard the news of the shooting at the Gilroy Festival, the family of 19-year-old Santino Lagan initially thought he was a victim. Turkin was shocked to later learn Lagan was the accused gunman.
Really don't expect that, you know, being from a quiet boy that doesn't get in trouble or anything.
Residents held 2 vigils last night to honor the victims. Decision 2020 coverage now. The second round of the Democratic presidential debates is tonight in Detroit. Once again, the debates will be spread over 2 nights like the first debate in Miami last month. 10 candidates will square off each night. We'll bring you complete coverage both nights on Spectrum Bay News 9. There's also a full breakdown on how the candidates qualified and who you'll see each night on BayNews9.com. An emotional farewell tonight for Florida Highway Patrol's current longest-serving female trooper. Trooper Barbara Earhart signed off today for the last time with a clear message: girl power.
I also hope that I have encouraged other women throughout my years that may have entered law enforcement and those that are thinking about entering law enforcement.
Trooper Earhart served her entire 36 years in Manatee County. Her final radio call continued with thanks to her loved ones and coworkers and with well wishes, congratulations, and goodbyes from them. We thank Trooper Earhart for her service and wish her a happy retirement.